Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrams landed herself in hot water after a picture of her contravening lockdown rules surfaced on social media. I'm joined now by Andy Rice, marketing expert, to shed some light on the current perception of Brand South Africa, but more so Brand Ramaphosa itself during this testing time. Andy, very good morning. Thank you for joining us. Let's start with Brand South Africa itself. We were seeing in media reports worldwide, it was Zondo Commission, it was corruption, so many things before, and then the crisis came, and then now we've got some of the strictest lockdown regulations besides China. How does the world view us now?
Well, good morning, Tony. I think that we need just to take a step back and ask ourselves what a brand is, so that we're talking about the same definitions. And there are many, many different views on how you describe a brand, but one of the simplest and the easiest to grasp for someone like me is that it's a promise made and a promise kept. And that loop is critical, because I don't think that anyone would argue that political parties and past governments in this country have done a great job and have got a good track record in terms of making promises and then keeping them. I think we feel that the second half is absent. And that's a very important measure by which we can say how well are we doing. Another definition that also sheds some light on it is to say that a brand is what they say about you when you leave the room. And that was Jeff Bezos who made that observation. So it's about reputation. And if I look at what people are saying about Brand South Africa, when, metaphorically speaking, they have left the room, then I think it's a significant step forward from where we were some years back. It's the most difficult challenge that the government has faced and that the brand has to tackle. But I think it's one in which we can say we are at least doing stuff that is recognised as the right thing to do, and we're doing our damnedest to make sure it happens.
Let's talk about the President, Cyril Ramaphosa himself. And on March 27, we saw the President announcing the lockdown itself, and it was a very choreographed performance, if you want to put it that way, but it looked very stately. He came out of that, with kudos from many, many corners. And also, when you look at the fact that he suspended the Minister of Communications for 2 months and Dr. Salary as well for 1 month. Has that changed the perception of him being weak when it comes to dealing with certain party issues before that? And has that enhanced his reputation at this moment?
Yes, I do. It's about the question of leadership and what is leadership and what kind of leadership do people respond positively to. And I think that we sometimes forget that it's not just the direction of leadership that counts, it's the strength of the leadership as well. So many people are perversely quite comfortable that they are being well led if their sense is that the leadership itself is strong more than it's necessarily going in the right direction. And I think it's unusual for leaders to get both the strength and the direction right at the same time. That's a sign of a really good leader. And I think there's evidence that that's what President Ramaphosa is managing to do successfully. He's undoubtedly demonstrating more strength of leadership than we have come to expect from slightly slippery politicians, and he seems to have a direction which, while painful and while difficult for everyone to implement, is, I think, recognised as the right way to go. So he gets both strength and direction of leadership right.
And is also assisted by a very sturdy and credible Minister of Health, isn't it, in Zweli Mkhize? You look at him and he comes through with so many briefings, and you take confidence from his briefings. Yes,
I think so. I think there's a name and a personality and a competence that's risen to the surface in almost unexpectedly, because he had an important internal role to play within the party structures. But I think there was a lot of admiration for his predecessor, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi. So I think no one had necessarily particularly high expectations one way or the other of what Mr. Mkhize would do, but he certainly seems to have stepped up to the plate, to use the corny old phrase.
All right, fantastic stuff. Andy, good chatting with you. Thanks for taking the time this morning for talking. To talk to us, brand and advertising commentator and marketing guru there, Andy Rice, giving the thumbs up at the present moment in terms of President Ramaphosa's brand and how he's conducted himself during this crisis. Okay, stay with us. We'll have